Hey everybody, this is Patrick Powers. This video is for mobile player experience within the August 2013 class, and this is for week 1. So we're going over some game usability heuristics for 2 separate games. The first game that I chose was Tetris Blitz, and the second game I chose was Fun Run. So starting with Tetris Blitz, I'll basically just go through all the heuristics for the various things that I found to potentially have areas of opportunity to basically make the game overall better. So audio and visual representation supports the game. Within this game, they did have music, and they did have actually sound effects. However, when you first opened Tetris Blitz, there was a loading time frame when nothing was going on. I mean, you could tell that it was loading, but it seemed like the game could have actually, and I'll go ahead and open up a screenshot of it, during this time of loading, right when you get into the game, some, interaction through music could have actually already started the interaction. It wasn't until this was completely loaded and the next page more or less loaded up that the music actually started playing. So just to get the user involved a little bit sooner while they're waiting, I do believe that you could have added some music up front. Now this is cosmetic, it's not absolutely. The load time is about 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more, so it's not a huge delay, but nonetheless it could be something that could be worked on. The next area I saw as an opportunity was navigation is consistent, logical, and minimalist. So for the game, there were times when you paused the game, you couldn't actually return to the main menu. So a lot of times when you pause a game, you are able to go back to the main menu, you're able to quit the game. But within this particular section, when you pause the game, all you can do is resume. You can't actually go back to the main menu, you can't actually clear out of the current game that you're playing, which sometimes you have to kind of get out of the game real quick. You need to actually remove yourself and back out. You want to go see the tutorial again because you're getting lost in what you're doing. You want to go buy something to level yourself up. Well, in this particular instance, you can't. This is actually technically grayed out. You can't go back to the main menu. You have to resume play. So personally, I think it's always good to have an option to exit what you're actually doing and going back to the main menu. So I do think this is actually something that could really help the overall gameplay that they should absolutely look into the next time they look into making some adjustments to the game. The next one is the hold button. When you're actually in the game, there's this space up here that says hold. There's no instruction anywhere to let you know what that means. They do let you know what cycle means. Next, there's a little image of what the next shape is going to come, but they don't have anything to tell you what hold means. So for that, basic control keys are consistent and follow standard conventions. I just don't even know why it's there. So definitely they need to go back in the next time. Now it doesn't actually interrupt gameplay because you don't necessarily need to use it. You're able to play the game without it, but why is it there? Give a little bit of a better instruction as to why. Game controls are convenient and flexible. So you're able to actually turn gestures on. There is this screen where you can enable swipe controls, and I'll come back to this screen. But when you're actually in the game and you're swiping, it doesn't work very well at all, to the point where you get really, really frustrated. And either get rid of the gestures altogether, and I actually put this as an imperative because it is terrible, or coming down to the game contains help. When you go into the tutorial, have something about the swipe. Interestingly, when you actually go and enable the swipe controls and you're trying to do that and you're like, well, I don't understand this, let me go to the tutorial and see if they can help. So you click on tutorial and they go through this. It automatically turns off the swipe gestures and it goes to the tapping gestures, and it gives you no reference as to how to actually help you learn how to use the swipe gestures better. So I would just say, to be honest, either get rid of the swipe gestures altogether, use your main interface where you're tapping, or have some tutorials as to how to actually use the gestures in a better way. So I found that to be something they absolutely also needed, along with the gestures. You've got to fix those two areas immediately to help with the overall gameplay, because it did frustrate me as a user pretty quickly. So that is the game usability heuristics for the Tetris Blitz, and overall a score of 13. So definitely a few things they need to work on, but overall it was overall good game usability. The second game is Fun Run. So Fun Run is basically a game where you, here's a image, are competing against others through just a scrolling world that you're running to the finish line. So audio-visual representation support of the game. There is sound effects, but there is no music throughout this entire game. It is silent the entire time, other than the sound effects. And the sound effects do give interaction to let you know what's happening and what's going on, but there's no other music behind it, which I think could really enhance this game a little bit more, even something very simple. So while it's not absolute, I would say it's a pretty major thing that they should think about and go back. Navigation is consistent, logical, and minimalist. So at the end of the level, when you're done with the level, you're actually presented with this icon right here, or this main or home icon. You have to push one or the other. Well, this in a lot of games means let's repeat the level, and this usually means let's go to the main menu. This actually does not mean go repeat the level. It means let's go choose a new level to actually play, which some people might think that that's what this means. So what I would say is either add another button or change the way this looks, because this is not representing what you would normally think this symbol actually means, which is let's repeat the level to see if I can do better. Control keys are consistent and follow standard conventions. One area where this is not the case is the pause button while you're in the game. This actually up here on the left hand corner is the pause button. And X means to most users, let's get out of here. What are we doing? Let's remove ourselves and start over, whatever it might be. That actually is not necessarily the case. It's also the pause. That's how you kind of basically say, do I want to go to the main menu if you click on it, or do I want to resume play? But it probably would be better to actually have a pause symbol rather than an X. It is a little bit confusing from the user, so that they don't think that they're exiting the game automatically. The game gives feedback on the player's actions. Well, at the end of the game, at the end of the race, there's real no congratulatory, you finished, great job. You cross the field, and up here it does say third, but it actually says third the entire time while you're in third or first or second, whatever. But sometimes, when you score a goal in soccer, it says goal across the screen. Some kind of congratulations, something. There's really even no noise, no sound effect at this point in time to recognize that you're done with the level. So it does then transition to this, where it kind of shows you where you landed. But it's not immediate, so this takes a few seconds to load. There could be a more immediate action for the user to see, to say, hey, congratulations, you're done. The player does not have to memorize things unnecessarily. So this is an interactive game. This is a game where you can play with your friends, but in order to play with your friends, you have to memorize who they are. This is the friend screen where you can add friends, or you had a list of friends. Well, if you don't have any friends listed, you have to find them. You push add. It comes to this screen. It says username of your friend. My name, for example, is something along the lines of Patrick Powers 12347882. That's not something that's easy. I don't even remember what my username is, to be honest. So having to find your friends within this game to be able to play against them, that makes it a little difficult. Maybe using some kind of Facebook or some other better way to recognize your friends, even using their email address, so you can connect it to your contacts with you on your device. Whatever it might be, the way that they've done it is not the most user-friendly. Lastly, the game contains help. It does have a tutorial, but it's super, super simple. There is no real understanding of how to play the game. Now, the game is very simple, but it doesn't really show you the field of play. All it really shows you is these little buttons, and you click next to go to the next thing. And it doesn't say what the objective is, how you actually get from start to finish, how to use the weapons, what they do. So really the tutorial, to be honest, is very much lacking. Now it is a very easy game, but still people like to have tutorials. I would say that's a pretty major thing and making that overall better. So again, when it comes down to the final score, it actually overall performed pretty well within the game usability heuristics. It was a pretty fun game, very, very simple, but it's actually done pretty well for itself. So, and again, this was Fun Run. The other one was Tetris Blitz, and that is it. Thanks so much.